Maybe you've tried accountability before and it just hasn't worked to help you stick with your goals, or maybe you're sort of an introvert and you would just really rather not talk to anybody but still have some secret sauce to completing your goals. I have been in both of those boats before. I don't normally consider myself an introvert, but when it comes to working, I don't want to talk to anybody. Just leave me alone and let me get it done. And then I've also tried a lot of accountability thinking it might be fun, and it just sort of falls through and doesn't work. But I have found some methods that seriously work. And I'm gonna share them with you today. The trick is to combine these different methods. It works. First, we're gonna run through all the different methods that there are to bring accountability into your goal efforts. And then we're gonna talk about the different combos and how they can work together to really solidify everything and make sure that you stick with it and don't fall through the cracks again. So first, let's start off with some apps. You might have heard me talk about Beeminder before, which is a pledge app. And if you've heard of pledge apps before, I swear this one is so much better. If you just go on the website and read about how they do things, I'll link it below. They are epic. They have thought through every possibility of things that could go wrong and have solutions for those things so that you never get in this situation where you're getting charged for something that you feel like you really don't deserve to get charged for. Definitely check them out. I have no affiliation with them, but I think the company is just so awesome. They do such a good job of making sure that you are not accidentally charged. They'll even cancel your subscription if you don't log in for long enough. Like Netflix doesn't do that. I don't know of any other company that will just cancel your subscription because you stop using it. But Beeminder doesn't want to charge you for something you don't use, so they do. If you're not familiar with pledge apps, basically they will just let you decide how much you want to be charged if you fall through on your goals, and they have so many different algorithms and frameworks for how you can track those goals. So I think it can work for a very wide variety of different goals, not just like a one-time goal or a recurring habit. You can use it for almost anything. The next app is quite a bit different. It's called Habitshare, and this is one that you use with just a few friends that you know in person, and you can add a habit to the app, just like pretty much any other phone tracking habit app, where you go in and it shows your daily streak and how many days you've completed the different habits. You can set different amounts for how often you want to do the habit, but then it'll notify your friends if they also get the app that you completed the habit, and so you can kind of check in on your friends, see how they're doing on your habits, and they can check in on you. And I think it's a really fun way to get your habits done, because you sort of get like an extra jolt of dopamine when you know that your friend is going to be notified that you did your habit, and then you might get like a little message on that app or just a separate text where they say good job, and you can tell them the same thing, and that'll also remind them to check in on their Habitshare app and get their habits done for the day. The next app is very underrated, and it's called Focusmate. So it's sort of like a co-working app, but it is so affordable. It's like $5 a month, and what you do is you go on, you make an account, and then you book a Focusmate session, and it's a 50-minute session where it'll randomly pair you up with somebody else that has the Focusmate app, and then you spend the first couple minutes telling the person what you plan to get done during the session. They'll spend a couple minutes telling you what they plan to get done, and then it is straight to work. You don't talk anymore, and then you kind of just see them, and maybe on a separate screen, or you can close the window if you want, but you know that they're working and you're working, and if you have to get up for something, you'll like send them a quick message because you don't want to just disappear. It's a way to pre-commit to working for a certain amount of time, and you can book these sessions way ahead of time. So if I want to commit to doing an hour of work on Friday, and it is now say Monday, I can do that. I can schedule the session for Friday, and then come Friday, I have to show up, or that person is left without a partner. You can also cancel sessions ahead of time if you have to, but I feel like it really does help you be more likely to show up. One more app, you've probably heard of this one, and then we're done with the apps. It's Coach Me. So they have different goals that other people in the community can check in on, and that part is free. Or if you want to get a coach, you can hire a coach through the app, and then they will help keep you accountable with your different goals. And I think they have different plans on whether you want just texting or if you want like texting and phone calls. I've used it before, and the coaches are great. I think that's a pretty popular app, but that's another option, especially if the kind of habit you're trying to keep doesn't have coaches that are specialists in that area. For example, I have a piano teacher, so I'm not going to get somebody that's going to keep me accountable on piano probably. But if I want somebody to keep me accountable on like cleaning my house, that's kind of a hard thing to find like an actual coach, where you can't just go to the gym and be like, hey, I need a house cleaning coach, right? So if you have kind of an unusual habit that you want help sticking to, getting a coach through Coach Me is awesome. Now, here are two other ways that you can implement accountability without apps. One of them is to schedule it with friends, like decide to meet up at the gym. I'm sure you've thought of that before, or a coffee shop. You could also announce it on forums. I think this is one that people think of less and works really well, especially because a lot of forums are so specific to certain goals. So the people on there might be really excited to see how especially a big and ambitious goal will go. So you might say you're gonna try writing for 30 days or doing 30 days of YouTube videos or even 30 days of decluttering, and you tell people that you're gonna share with them the before and after results of if you learned anything, how hard it was to stay on schedule, maybe what your house looks like before and after, the weight you've lost, whatever it is. And especially if the form is specific to that habit, people will get so excited about this because they want to see what kind of difference and impact somebody can make in a certain time frame. Tell them you're going to check in either daily or weekly and tell them all how it's going. And I think once people start liking it and giving you encouragement on there, that gives you a lot of incentive to keep going with it, because you know, like, these people are waiting to see how it goes. And it's also kind of a low social way to do it if you're an introvert, at least for me. Please like if you're getting any cool ideas or enjoying this, and dislike if not, because I like the feedback either way. Okay, so I just vomited a bunch of ideas at you, and maybe some of you have heard of, some of them you haven't, and you might be excited to try them. But honestly, a lot of them aren't gonna work by themselves. I really do believe that based on my personal experience. And for me, the trick is to combine them, and then it works so well, because if one thing starts falling through for some reason, the other one is there to pick you back up. So let's go over some problems you can run into with each of these and how you can kind of counterbalance them with another app or technique so that they work in conjunction with each other. So let's say, for example, you hire like a gym coach or maybe a teacher for a certain habit, like guitar teacher, piano teacher, language teacher, whatever. I'm a piano teacher, so that's always the example that I think of. But then you like wait till the last minute to practice. I totally do this with my piano. I know I have my piano lesson on Fridays, and guess what day I get the most practice in? Like either Thursday night or Friday morning, because I know my teacher is going to be asking me if I practiced at all on Friday. And so I totally wait till the last minute, and then you're kind of wasting money if you're paying for lessons or a gym coach or anything like that. So one thing you can do is you can set up Beeminder for the habit that you're trying to do, and the Beeminder requires that you do a minimum of this habit. And the coach is also going to be there once a week probably to hold you accountable and see if you're sticking with it. And then you're going to be able to impress them by how much you practice, and you're going to have practiced a lot because Beeminder made you. Beeminder being that pledge app where you commit to either a certain amount of time or a certain amount of reps or whatever to doing a habit, and then it charges you if you fall through. Now, Beeminder has like an awesome setup, so if you get sick or something happens and you can't do the habit, like they're totally gonna let you out of it. So don't worry about that. Just check out the site. And then your coach is also gonna understand if something major like that happens. But that's a good way to make sure you're getting in the right amount of practice, even if you do have a coach. And you can also have the coach to help you decide what a realistic amount to practice or exercise or whatever is, and then you'll know what to set on Beeminder that's realistic but not too easy. Here's another example. Let's say you and your friends decide to go to the gym together and keep each other accountable, and maybe you're also going to try to do a certain diet. Let's say you're going to try to drink half a gallon of water a day and go to the gym 3 times a week with your friend. The problem I've heard a lot with this and experienced myself is that often you guys both kind of give each other an out. If you're not feeling like, you're like, oh, maybe we should just skip today, like I'm really sore, yeah, okay, let's skip, sure. And then you like have this free pass, but that can happen too much, and then you both fall off the wagon. So another way you can do this is you can add in Beeminder to that habit. So you both can make Beeminder accounts. You could even try to make a shared Beeminder account. It would have to only be linked to one person's credit card, but then the other person's gonna feel super bad if it charges you, or maybe they just have to give you $5, half of it, whatever. Or you could each have your separate Beeminder accounts, and then you'll both get charged. So you're gonna be like, oh crap, we gotta make sure we go to the gym so that Beeminder doesn't charge us. This also helps counterbalance Beeminder if you're afraid that you're gonna lie to Beeminder, because you're not gonna wanna like lie to Beeminder and to your friend, right? So if your friend's like, oh crap, we gotta go to the gym, otherwise we're gonna get charged on Beeminder, you're not gonna say like, oh, let's just like lie to Beeminder, right? It's not cool to lie to Beeminder anyways, because that's like their income is by you being honest. But anyways, if you're worried that you're gonna like try to weasel out of the Pledge app, then your friend will kind of keep you accountable for that. And the Pledge app will keep you and your friend accountable for going to the gym or whatever other habit you're trying to do. I've done joint habits with people with Beeminder before, and it actually worked really well because we were both like, oh crap, let's not do this because we don't want to get charged. Here's another one. Let's say that you commit to a lofty goal on a forum, like maybe you're going to finish the first draft of your book, or you're going to declutter 500 things in a month. But there's no like daily accountability, and so you could technically push that project off to the last minute, but at some point you're gonna get super stressed and run out of time. So pair that with something like FocusMate, where you have to show up to the FocusMate every single day or a few times a week. And the FocusMate is the thing where you do 50-minute sessions, work sessions with some random stranger. So then there's something that's committing you to showing up to the FocusMate every day, and you have the added benefit of wanting to keep doing the FocusMates so that you can report back to the people on the forum that you completed the project or stuck to the goal. I was only gonna do 3, but let's do one more bonus one because I really wanna talk about how you could use this for something like getting up early, because early rising is like the bane of my existence. It's really hard for me, and I think all of these can be used for that habit. So let's see how we could combine them. So first, let's take Beeminder, and we could do Beeminder and tell Beeminder that like I have to pay if I don't check in on it by a certain time, or if I don't get up by 7 a.m. at least 5 times this week. Then I could also book FocusMate sessions so that I know somebody's waiting for me at maybe 7:15. So I want to jump out of bed, get some clothes on, maybe get something to drink before I sit down to do a FocusMate session with somebody. I could also use CoachMe and check in with people on that app, or hire a personal coach and tell them that I plan to get up early, and then they would help me troubleshoot any problems. Something I've actually done in the past, and it worked really well. I could also go on some kind of habit forum or early rising forum, get some advice from other people, and maybe find an accountability partner on there, or just decide to make a challenge for myself and post about it on that forum. Habitshare is also an awesome app for early rising because people can see when you check in. So if you have a friend that's already up before you and you check in at that time, they're gonna see it right when you wake up and they're gonna be proud of you. Alternatively to FocusMate, you could set a time to meet up with a friend for a walk, the gym, coffee shop, whatever, or just call a friend in the morning when you get up. Seriously, the trick to any of these is to combine these different things. You don't necessarily have to combine all 5 of them, but try to go for 2 or more, and I promise you it'll work so much better than things you've tried in the past. And set these up when you're like kind of fed up with yourself. Don't make the goals too lofty, don't make them impossible, but do enough of them, set up enough of them where you're like, I'm gonna make sure I do this, otherwise it's never gonna happen. Once you've sort of given up hope on yourself, doing it on your own, that's when you're most likely to feel excited about reaching out for help and setting up these things ahead of time so that when the time comes, you're not relying on your willpower. Because honestly, especially if you're trying to keep a consistent habit, you're not gonna have willpower every day. And so if you can set something up ahead of time, you are so much more likely to stick to it. That's seriously the only way I have been able to stay consistent with YouTube videos is because I have it on Beeminder, and I committed to some mentors that I was gonna do it. I mean, I'd like to say that my viewers are enough, but I don't have a ton of viewers right now, and I think I would have weaseled out of it if I hadn't committed to those mentors and put it on Beeminder. So your challenge today is to pick just 1 habit to start with. Of course, you can add more later, but to begin with, just do 1 habit and try to add as many of these elements as you possibly can, 2 or more minimum, and let me know in the comments what habit you decide on doing and which combo of strategies you're going to use to try to stick with that habit. Let me know how it goes, and I would love to give more feedback on any of these specific apps if you're interested. See you Thursday. Bye.